You can see me now, yo. Could you hear me before and not see me? It was I just was not present because I was like, "What's going on? Why is nobody replying to me?" I was getting really frustrated. I was out on the balcony with some hashtag views, but that setup didn't seem to be working, so I had to come inside and try it again. One flash, screen was black. Okay. Yes. Refresh the vibes. I wonder if I can pull you closer to me without ruining everything. That's a yes. Just. Hey, Grace. Hey, Aisha. Hey, everyone. I'm in my feelings today. I am in... I am in a space. I don't know what today's tarot therapy is about because I didn't have any time to ask. So it is very much a kind of show up and see what happens reading. I was able to, hold on, I've got my legs crossed, just want to move them for a sec. So I can use this section to prepare the cards. So I wanted to clear my energy before starting the reading today. And I was like, let me go down to the beach, let me go to the sea, let me get in, let me refresh, let me cleanse, let me energize. Oh, what's going on with my phone? There is something about being in the sea for me that just hits different. Like the energy, the replenishment that I get there. I don't really know another source that gives me that, and I definitely didn't get enough time. I mean, I just didn't, but I'll go back tomorrow morning. When I got to the beach, it started raining, and I was like, that's fine. If you want to cleanse me from above and below and everywhere, I'm good with that. As soon as I touched the water, the rain stopped. I was able to stay for about half an hour. I see your question, Bella. I was able to stay for about half hour. And then when I was leaving, so it stopped raining as soon as I got in. And then when I was leaving, the heavens opened, like it poured all the way down. And then it gave me kind of like Jamaica Caribbean vibes, where it was so hot, the rain was so heavy, and then you get that like humidity after, and you can smell all the fruits and the street vendors and the markets. And as I was walking home, just preparing to come, but yeah, it wasn't enough. It was like literally like that sip of water I just had, not enough. And I'm trying to get right back in ASAP. So I'm in Bahia. I'm in Salvador, Brazil. While I prep the cards, I will tell you, I didn't want to come. That might surprise you. I didn't want to come here. And Eurisha will call in, and my ancestors were pressing me a bit. And I was like, I don't want to go there. Like, no. And it wasn't even Brazil so much. Like, obviously, Brazil's a big dream. It wasn't that I didn't want to come. I didn't want to go alone. And if you've been following me for a while and you know, or you're a friend of mine, solo travel is not an issue for me. I mean, my life is solo. I'm hardcore hermit. I spend so much time alone. Moving around the world alone is not a challenge for me. It's a blessing. But for whatever reason, this year I've just not wanted to. I've been longing for connection and companionship, and I just did not want to travel alone. I was like, I don't want to. And if you follow me on Twitter, you'd see that I did one of the those like auto-correct messages where you type, this one was the universe is saying, and then you let auto-correct fill it in. And auto-correct was that you need to go there alone. And I laughed because I was like, I've been saying I don't want to go. So I was like speaking to them, protesting a little bit, knowing that I needed to, not wanting to. I really wanted to go to Cape Verde. There were no flights there anyway. And look at that Ace of Cups at the bottom of the deck. I thought it was only right that we used the Orisha deck today. And so just like feeling the call, knowing the path, feeling resistant as a status quo with me, really. And then I went to sleep and I dreamt of my grandmother, my closest ancestral connection, very close to her. I was close to her in life too. And I feel her energy a lot. I don't tend to dream about her in physical form. She only really came through physically when she was kind of first reaching out to me, and I was very hesitant around like opening up ancestor energy. And then since we kind of passed through that threshold in that doorway, I see that 33, that hasn't been the case anymore, and she just doesn't show her presence in that way. But she came through in the dream, and we were in the dream in Rio actually, on a beach, and I was taking care of her. And I woke up and I was like, "You're so loud." Okay, fine. Like clearly you know something I don't know. You want me here. There's, when I was doing divination on it was just like healing that needs to happen here, breakthrough that needs to happen here, but also reward. Like, you've worked really hard, you've been very diligent, you've shown up, you've responded to kind of the major like challenges and calls to really heal things across your bloodline, across generations, and this is kind of a reward for you. And it's my birthday this month too, #Virgo. And so I was like, okay. And then I think once I kind of connected into going to Rio too, it became more joyful. I was more excited. And then I was fully on the bandwagon and like, I want to go. And the message was like, don't tell anybody, don't say anything, don't share your plans, be quiet, move in silence. So some of you will know I was saying I'm going somewhere, but I can't tell you where. Because they were just like, no, you've really got to you've got to go. And so I was kind of using Duolingo to teach myself Portuguese before I came. So I was just aware that, especially in Salvador, it's not going to be a space where people are going to be speaking English to me. And I needed that skill, that language tool to get around, cards prepared. I will say that it's been very challenging, really confronting, sometimes a little isolating. I've definitely felt lonely in moments, and just like I had a little cry on the hammock earlier, and it's just been a lot to be here. And I was talking to Alicia about it earlier and just saying that I'm feeling really in my shell and really like I don't want to talk to anybody, and not in terms of in Brazil, I'm open to that, but just like, my WhatsApp messages are built up. I'm just not wanting to take phone calls or message anyone, and I'm just feeling really in my Cancer rising shell and just super sensitive, all the feels, all the emotions. I'm very much like, why do you have me here? And not in a I don't want to be here way, but like, what is it? Very Virgo with me, trying to control the situation. Like, what's the rules? Tell me what it is. What am I supposed to be doing? And I think from my own perspective, I'm going to be working whilst I was here. And I was definitely having a bit of a tantrum earlier about how much work I'm currently doing and not wanting to be working at this level, at this rate, and not wanting to be working right now while I'm in Salvador. And then just thinking to myself when I was, crying because I was tired, actually, like a baby, like literally, I just started crying. And so I was just like, I'm so tired. And then thinking also about how hard it is, how hard life here can be. And, I'm crying that I'm tired, but I also have like the blessing, the privilege, the luxury to be able to work and earn well in order to facilitate me being here in the first place, right? So I was just like, check yourself a little bit. Like, you're literally sat in an apartment crying in Brazil. And then I was like, okay, perspective. And then I was like, and you can cry. Like, it's also okay for you to have your own feelings, right? That's both can be true at once. Colette, she said, love is there. so I was going to say something because I feel like my friends are trying to get me married out here. But yes, here I am. And so I didn't even want to do tarot therapy today, real talk. I didn't. I was like, I don't want to. Okay. But I also recognize that if I'm to be authentic in community and to practice like radical love and honesty and to come from a place of integrity, then I can't only be here when I feel strong and inspired. It's important for me to demonstrate and to really practically walk what it looks like, to not want to do this shit sometimes, right? And today's one of those days. And I checked in and it was like, show up. So here I am. We will see what comes of it. Hey, Tam Tam. So that's my opening spiel. I will be here for a while, so the next few tarot therapies will be in Brazil. So you'll see me in kind of different spaces and different energies and having different things to reflect on. Let's just bring in some breath, really, some prana. I'm really glad, MJ. Tomorrow, I've only got one reading tomorrow, so I'm gonna spend the day out just kind of soaking in that Orisha energy. Thank you, everyone. My ancestors love it for me too. It's me that needs to get on board. All right. Let me settle myself. Let's just do some breaths. It never fails to, or I never failed to marvel at how pleasurable something as simple as the breath can be. And like literally like what, that was like 20 seconds of breathing, allowing me to really come back inside and to kind of settle into this body, back into this vessel. Just saw Sass said people be getting readings while I'm here. Yeah, that's actually lots of you. Hence my I'm tired earlier today. But yes, the monthly readings will be done while I'm out here too. Gosh, look at me. I just threw a whole bunch of cards on the floor. Can I reach them? Yes. Okay. So set the intention you are going to receive what you need today. Not you, we, me too. Include me in that intention. Okay. I don't even know who sings it. There's a song that's in my mind. Something about your love. It's not a gospel song. Oh, Phony People. That's who it is. That's the song that's in my mind. Okay, turning the cards over. Interesting. Our topic for today. Let me just fill the message. Second, give me a second. A lot of water energy. I feel the energy of blossoming. I said this to, was it Cancer or Taurus? Maybe Taurus has said this too. It feels like rebirth, renewal. I feel like it's like, what I can see was like a rapid growth of a tree. So we know that, trees can take such a long time, or they have a slow process from sapling to fully grown to mature. But when I looked at the card, it was like seeing the tree go from a seed to fully in blossom in like the space of 2 minutes. Actually, that's reminding me of an anime that I was watching. Which one was it? I think it's called My Neighbor, the something another. That does not help you, I guess, but it's on Netflix. And I do think it's Studio Ghibli. And the wood spirits that one of the children connects with grows plants like overnight. And it's that kind of energy that's coming through. There is this kind of rapid blossoming I can see that's coming through. That's it. My neighbor Totoro. Thank you, Sophie. There's this blossoming energy that's coming through in the star card here. Like you see that tree in the background. That's the image that I saw when I looked at that. I saw just coming up really quickly, blossoming really fast, rapidly. Let's actually just sit on this. Sit on this. I'm not apologizing. When I said that, that felt very sexual to me. Let's sit on this message for a while. Okay, Spirit. Are we sitting? Oh, Emperor out. Apparently we are sitting on it. Okay, Aries energy. So that feels to me like really tapping into that sex energy right now. With that sex with a partner, exploring sex on your own, sex is creation, sex is literally creating life. But there's definitely this energy of sit on it. All right. This is really the Four of Swords with this the Star card, the Emperor, the Four of Swords. It feels like plans, this rapid growth of the tree. It feels like plans that we don't have to work hard at, graft at, struggle at. It's not our will and our might. It's things that they're executed in the space of rest, of pleasure, and of creativity, very generally speaking. And that creativity can have a myriad of forms for you, right? So it could be knitting, for example, and it could be making love, like whatever that is, where it is really tapping into that energy of pleasure. And I think that makes sense, actually. Let me close that. It makes sense about why I was crying earlier, because I feel like with me crying about being tired and my energy and that kind of like, I was like a baby, that baby moment I was having was actually, how can I describe it? It's like, it's the place that I'm drawing from, I think, is the issue. And I think it was like, I was having, it's this kind of Mars-Saturn square off. I was having this frustration that I don't want to work in a certain way. And there's a certain energy I don't want to feel. And I don't basically want to be bound by the work behaviors and norms and energies of capitalism. I don't want it. And anytime I feel like I keep going into this like deep rest and then extreme busyness, and I'm really still this year like learning how to live and create from a different space. And I guess even being here and working from here is part of that for me, like, and even being in a different energy spiritually, being able to go to the sea before I start this, like thinking about how is pleasure informing our work, our ambition, our drive, what we see as what we're working towards, right? The goal, really. It also feels like passion and desire, or like what we thirst after or hunger for. Like, how can pleasure be part of the shaping of that? And I feel like drawing in more pleasure is part of that replenishing energy, and it is the place that we need to be working from. Now, let's be honest, there's not every aspect of your work that you're going to enjoy. You will know that if you email me, it's really, will I reply? I hate emails. Okay? Just like I am just barely managing with my email. So there's always going to be aspects of our work that we don't love, right? It's not all going to be super amazing and pleasurable, but it is about living from the tree of pleasure. So I feel like with the image that I saw of the tree growing really quickly and it kind of bearing fruit, this fruitfulness, this abundance, it is actually coming from this space of plenty. That we work from a space of plenty, from the bountifulness of what we're giving. And that if we are experiencing lack or burnout or challenges to that, we need to come back to this. And I'll share something really simple. Just want to move this across slightly, 1 second. I'll share something a bit simple, which is that when I woke up this morning and I was feeling a bit moody, and I have rules for myself about what I need to eat, and like what it means to be healthy and to live well. And I really just wanted a glass of wine at 8 a.m. in the morning, and the packet of cheese and onion crisps that I brought with me. And I was like, sis, just have your wine and your crisps for breakfast. Like, and I poured my glass of Prosecco, and I got in bed and I ate my packets of crisps. And then when I was finished, I really chuckled because the pleasure that it gave me, it kind of just opened something up where I was like a little bit more willing to show up to my day. And it's that, right? It's that when we are feeling even the external taskmaster of the emperor here, right? And that when we need to sit on it, being like when we need to kind of almost wrangle or seduce the work energy, right? When we need when we need to approach the quote unquote boss in our lives. No, not your literal boss. I'm not saying that you need to seduce your boss at your employer. I mean, you might, but that's none of my business. But what I mean by that is, how can we bring that sexual energy, that playfulness, that creativity, that sensuality to the things that we have to show up for? Because I feel like with the star card, this is what we're learning to birth. And I feel like in the creation of the new, especially as we go into 2021, and we start, this has been almost just this year's been like the wheels falling off. But as we start to construct our car, our chariot, what we're going to move into, I do feel like this kind of nakedness, like this being expressive of ourselves, in our sensuality, like really displaying ourselves, being present to ourselves and our bodies, is going to be really, really, really crucial in what we're able to birth and create that isn't, like I said, just a repeat of the things and the entrapments that we've been wanting to escape. Jane, barely able to get up for work today. I know I've been speaking to quite a few people who are just feeling under this particular energy. And, astrologically we get that there's some really challenging transits at the moment. it's just a bit like, yo, man, like, do I have it? Can I have it? And I feel like it is about, small things like, okay, so I'm just gonna put it like this. Sometimes when I do this reading, I don't have any underwear on. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I don't want to, because that gives me pleasure. And it's like, it's such a small example, but it's about allowing that part of yourself to be present, where especially as women and femmes, we have been made to lock that aspect of ourselves away, and it's not allowed its form of expression. Okay, so I feel like there is this, like, not just reclaiming of the feminine as, holy and wise, but what I just heard was sexual and deviant. Deviant as in going against the grain or off the given path. Let's put it like that. All right. There's more to this message with the tree. King of Wands. Good, to reclaiming your body during quarantine. The King of Wands, the energy I'm feeling here is like very, very, very clear intention. Be really clear about what you want, not just what you need or what you think is possible. I feel like there's just this really potent, strong magnetism toward things at the moment. Like, even in the midst of things crumbling or ending or changing, there is so much that is able to be birthed. There is so much power for creativity that, like I said, doesn't come through struggle and effort. And I feel like there is an alignment that can happen, but you need to be clear about what is that you even want to see come into being. And it's easy to say, be clear about what you want. And we can say that really often, but, desire, sorry, this deracism is bothering me. Desire can be difficult to own, claim, or tap into, or even feel in the first place. The other thing about it too is that we can have so many scripts and codes around what we can even perceive, ask for, imagine, and then it's very difficult for us to imagine or move into what we haven't seen at all. So I'm saying that to say there is some kind of like simple kind of, be clear about what you want, but we don't want to remove the politics of desire or creativity in that sense. So when I say be clear about what you want, I do mean like be inspired is probably the best way I can talk about King of Wands. And it does feel like wet pussy energy. It feels like using that sexuality again to innately call you towards something, right? So we can have like intellectual desires, right? We might have through our cultures, our families, our traditions, be aware of certain things and think we want certain things. Maybe we want a house, maybe we want a car, maybe we want a family, right? But I feel like you should be tapping deep into that sacral chakra, deep into these different energy centers in your body and feeling what gives you pleasure and exploring what gives you pleasure. And also, if I'm going to be honest, especially with this King of Wands energy, pay attention to your jealousy. I think it's really important to pay attention to those constrictions in your heart and those pangs of jealousy when you are seeing other people experience their light, their sunshine, their season of growth or abundance or blossoming. And I say that because that jealousy that you feel is often an indicator that there's just something you desire out of that experience. And if you are struggling to connect with what your deeper desires are, that primal response is a good clue. And you can use that, right, to almost repurpose that shadow energy into something that is creative light for you, which is raw. Like that pang of jealousy that I got when I saw XYZ person doing whatever lets me know that that might be something I want to explore for myself, or there's something in that for me. But I feel like right now it is like, let your pussy lead you. That's how I was going to say, I'm sorry, I'm not sorry, but this is how it's coming through. I don't know what to tell you. Okay. That's the message. Mars, Grace, our astrologer says Mars slowed fully down at critical degree. Tomorrow will be station retrograde until November. Sorry, I didn't mean to shake my head at the retrograde. Until November 15th, 16th, it will make a harsh aspect to Saturn on September 29th. That's really interesting because of that date, I'm doing something very specific. That's September 29th. I might move it. So yeah, we're feeling that slowing down, and that I feel like with that Mars kind of Saturn, I was going to say square off, is also the relentlessness of what needs to be done. Do you know what I mean? It just feels like, yes, maybe we have less motivation or less oomph or less power or whatever it is, and Saturn's like, so the work is what it is, the deadline is what it is, it's got to be done. Like, there's no excuses here. So make of that what you will. I feel like the way around that is to shift that Mars energy out of brute force, out of what we might determine as kind of more the masculine approach to Mars, which is to push or apply will, power, strength, energy, physical might, and move it into the magnetism of Mars as sexual. Like, take it as you will. What makes you wet, Aisha said. Yeah, I mean, that's it. Last, thank you, Grace. Mars is not, in Aries is not slow. It's going to be obsessive. I'm minding my business. I asked last tarot therapy, you know, what were the foundations of your spiritual integrity? And this time it's like, you know, what are the pillars of your sexuality? Oh, listen, Sass. I just don't want to hear it. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to hear it with the astrology right now. I just want to, like, you know, like batten down the hatches and just ride it out. I'm just like, listen. I can't complain because it's brought me a lot of career blessing at the same time, but I feel like, personally speaking, with that Mars in the 10th house and everything else going on in my chart, it's like pushing me to show up so much when I really want to just hide or just mind my business or just be off somewhere. Yeah, I don't like it. Grace, it is so hard. And trauma can make that really difficult. I saw something, trigger alert. I'm going to keep this really light, but the topic is incest. I'm not going to go into it even a little bit, but I am going to bring that up, and I want you to be aware of that. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to do what you need to mute. I'll raise my hand when I've stopped talking about it, so you'll know. You can mute me. Okay, so I saw that No Signal, the radio station, posted a tweet I saw in passing that was like, how much would you, what was it? To kiss your parents, to lips your parents, or whatever, make out of your parents for how much money? And it really triggered me. I had to go past it really quickly because just trauma, basically, that I can't get into here. And that can also, my only point, and that was a reference point for something that came up for me today, but that being, especially where our sexuality is concerned, we can have so many layers of sexual trauma that can make that very difficult to, the question of pleasure, what gets us wet, can be hard. So people know I'm off that topic. I mentioned this on Twitter, I've actually been experiencing sexual awakening. And not in that kind of like, reclaim your sexuality and be a feminist, white feminism. Not like that, not even a little bit. I've really been thinking about what this rising of sexual power in my body really looks like and feels like outside that framework of white feminist ideology. You know, as a Black cisgender woman, like, what does it mean for me to sit on it, right? What does it mean for me to sit in and on that power? And it has been raw. And it's also been, as someone who can be very controlled or ordered or methodical or wants to do things a certain way. I think that's also one of the challenges I'm having with these transits, is that I don't like changing plans. I don't like saying to people I'm going to do something on one day and then I can't do it and I'm saying I'm going to do it a different day. I hate all of that. And so it's really like challenging my ideas about who I am as a professional person, right? And all those capitalist logics about how I should show up in my work. Why am I saying any of that? I lost my train of thought. I'm trying to think about it, but my mind's absolutely blank. I have no idea what I was just saying. Oh, my sexual awakening. So what have I been experiencing in terms of that raw power is like it's been overwhelming, the need for order and logic and strategy. And it has been very clear, and it has been like feeling my spirit self sitting more deeply inside me. That's how I'm experiencing that sexual awakening. It is like opening a portal up to a part of me that has more gravitas, more power, more darkness, but is so sure of itself, and there isn't any questioning, and the mind I've been feeling is good with it. There's been no battle of the mind. The mind's been like, you get to take front seat here, it makes sense. So I've been really kind of allowing that energy to sit in me, and just kind of playing with the boundaries of it. Oh, actually, that's a point. I wanted to thank Sarunia, Aisha, and Bookie for hosting the House of Black Hangout last week. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet because I was under intense family stress last week, and then I traveled. But I do want to watch it and then see if there's any parts that I can share for those who weren't able to be there live. But I'm really, really glad that hangout happened, and there was such dope feedback. That it was really special for those who were there. So I'm really grateful that community is expanding in that way. All right, let's move on because it's been 37 minutes and I've done all of like one card. Okay, so we have that rapid growth. We have the bursting forth of pleasure and sexuality, moving from a place of abundance, showing up more with our sexuality, our sensuality, our full embodiment as sexual beings more at the forefront. We have the Page of Cups as the next card. It just feels like the Page of Cups just feels like learning and leaning into the new. We're students here. This is all new to us. That we can't expect mastery at these things. That we can't expect too much of ourselves as we attempt to live in these different ways, or live from these different places, or have different kinds of sexual relationships or sexual experiences with each other, or build other kinds of loving connections, or build community even. That we need to be aware of ourselves as novices, as learning in the realm of spirit and emotion here, but also not allowing that newness and that student energy to make us close down in some of the ways I was describing earlier, right? When I was saying that I'm feeling my shell and I just want to be alone. I'm all drawn in. And this Page of Cups is talking about not letting being in a new environment, I hear you, not letting being in a new environment shrink ourselves, whether that is a new environment physically like me, or a new environment in terms of like work and career and new things you're doing, or a new relationship, or a new level of spirituality. A lot of you still, you know, unable, procrastinating, feeling unsafe about connecting with your ancestors or developing spiritually. It's like, yes, you're new, but one of the things I love about the Page of Cups energy is this extreme open-heartedness. It's like the innocence of a child is what I feel with Page of Cups. Children can be so loving, not even just children, dogs. It's one of the things I don't like about dogs. But just ready to love anyone. Okay? And I feel like that's the energy that we need to have, and not that we are just out here in a kind of love and light to everybody, Care Bears, not like that, but actually having our hearts open enough that we are able to connect with each other, and that we are able to give, receive, and build loving community. And that requires us to stay open. We do actually have the King of Cups next. And I just feel like it's really interesting, you know, I've been mentioning this over and over about this idea of time and the linearity of time, or this idea that things and change happen slowly. We're really not experiencing that anymore. Not us, and when I say we, the collective, we as in us as beings, us as like having a experience in bodies here on this earth. Things can happen very, very slowly, and change can be very incremental. But I feel like with those of us who are tapping in to the creative energies that are available to us right now, it's like jumping the queue. It's being fast tracked. We don't have to wait a long time to go from the page to the king. And let's just get some more about that. Hermit. Five of Cups. Five of Wands, Eight of Cups. The message really is that we've already gained the wisdom that we need with the Hermit card here. And we gain the wisdom from a certain kind of experience. I may pivot and be a little esoteric for a moment, but it does feel like ascension energy to me, where it's like, you know, I know there's been a lot of conversation on Twitter at the moment, which I'm so in alignment with, is about the category of human, and I don't resonate with it at all. And you may find, if you listen to me, I try to talk around that word. But I feel like there is an ascension out of that category anyway, as in whatever was tied into that human experience. Well, when I say whatever, it's not whatever. There's strife and warfare with this Five of Wands, battling, competing differences, competing ideologies. This is nations against each other. This is grief and sorrow and lack and poverty and trauma, with a bridge in the background across timeline after timeline after timeline. And this is searching, but dying of thirst here. Searching, searching, searching. And literally by way of being born into these experiences and navigating them, we were forced onto the hermit path, right? We were forced into an experience of quote unquote enlightenment, waking up to the bigger, broader reality with the stars here about the multidimensional reality that we live in. And so as we move forward now in this creative space, we are new, as in it is a fresh experience, but we're not inexperienced. We still come with the King of Cups energy, which feels actually like building on, especially with this plateau here, building on the wisdom and the experiences that we've had already. Do you know what I mean? So in the same way that I can talk about being in Brazil as my Page of Cups energy, and it's been very new to me, and the language being new to me, and the culture being new to me, and the space being new to me. But I am not a toddler here. I'm still an adult woman, okay? And so this is new, but all the life experience that I have is still invested in me and still forms how I move around in this space, and gives me the life experience I have gave me the confidence in the first place to make this journey alone in terms of physical human companionship, because spiritually I'm not alone. So I hope that is clear to you with this King of Cups energy then, that yes, the Page of Cups, we're moving into this new environment, and there is kind of this optimistic open-heartedness about what can be created, but on the basis actually of a lot of wisdom and experience that we should also acknowledge within ourselves and each other. With the 10 of Wands, really, this ship can't run anymore is what I heard. It's been a difficult year, let's be honest. It really, really has. Even with the best of spiritual support and the best divination skills, it has been hard. There's no denying that. And maybe that those challenges have been different depending on where we find ourselves in our spiritual growth journey. Maybe we've had support others haven't had. Maybe we've been able to see and have foresight. I was really thinking this week about earlier in the year when we kept getting storm warning and tarot therapy before, you know, the pandemic became a big global news story, and the governments were being made to respond to it, or being held accountable around responding to it. So we may have foresight, we may know things, we may see things, but it doesn't remove the fact that we are experiencing the death of the world as we know it. But yeah, just the death of the world with the 10 of Wands. This cannot be built anymore. This structure cannot go any further. And I'm thinking about this vision I had a few months ago when I saw two parallel bridges, and bridges are timelines for me in dreams, and on the bridge that was on the parallel timeline. So I was on one bridge and another bridge was on the side, and as I was driving along this bridge collapsed completely. And I feel like that is what's happening, that there is something that we have to be present to and aware of as we are witnessing destruction and endings. And I'm also feeling the energy that it's not just presence, there's responsibility that we have. Change decks. Yeah. Let me see the other two cards. Yeah. It's really the energy I felt with we have the Outcast, the Six of Air, and the Moon. So on the one hand, our responsibility in the midst of this death and the ending is to really go through this dark night of the soul with everybody, right? We're not gonna just be like aloof and standoffish and just be like, well, peak for you lot. But me and my spirits over here are fine. It's like, no, it's walking, you know, that scripture, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. And I feel like that thou actually has to be us right now. Oh, yes, you know I'm about to talk about Moana. That thou has to be, we have to walk through that valley. And I'm going to give you some Moana spoiler alerts. So if you don't want the Moana spoiler alerts, I will raise my hand again when I finish talking about Moana. Okay, I'll give you a second to mute me. So there's a scene at the end of Moana. So this is a spoiler, but you know I love this film. I can't wait to watch it with my babies. There's a scene at the end of Moana where she realizes that the so-called monster, or the thing that she's been perceiving as a monster, is actually the feminine earth goddess, let's say. And her heart has been stolen, and that has, it crumbled or crystallized her into rage and lava. And, you know, the sea parts. And like Moana, she takes this like courageous act of like walking through this parted sea to confront this monster and give this monster back its heart, to return the heart. So everyone knows I'm done with the spoiler. And the message from that I'm really feeling here is that people have been offline, right? We've been living in this world with our hearts offline, closed, shut down. We don't want to feel pain, don't want to feel disconnection, we don't want to feel our trauma. We are taught. I always say this, that so much of what we do in the world does not require us to have an open heart, not even a little bit. In fact, it requires us to shut ourselves down. And so it's like we as spirit workers, we as whatever else you want to call yourself, let me not stretch my mind too far. We have to be the ones right now with this moon card to walk with people through that darkness, through that lane, through the parting of the seas at the moment, and to support, not do it for them, but to support people in feeling again and connecting to their emotions. And this whole year, particularly the isolation and the major challenges that people have had to face to their sense of security and about their future and their health and their families and their jobs, and the veil lifting around the behaviors of their governments, and it is forcing people to feel shit they don't want to. And then these transits are like, feel everything. All the shit you don't want to feel. Let's make life squeeze you. And us with the skills, we have to kind of walk with people through this moon experience, through the hearts of being stabbed, and be like, okay, but feeling is the way through it. Okay, and that the feeling and the turning on, those of you who watch Vampire Diaries, and they would have this thing called the humanity switch. And like vampires could switch off their humanity and just wild out, basically. Sorry, I just want to move my leg. And so it's like that, right? Helping people, even though I don't resonate at all with the concept or ideology of being a human, or really who can and can't be coded as human, because Black people cannot be. It is about helping people switch back on not their human, but their soul, their spirit. That's what we're doing, because that is the path to liberation. And you all know that's all I care about. That's literally all I care about. From I was a child, the only thing I've cared about is how can Black people be free? That's it. That's been the question on my heart always. And that is our path to liberation, is turning ourselves, 5151 right then, turning ourselves back on. And we are the way showers. We are the outcasts, you know. We are the ones that look crazy or are doing things in a different way, or on the boundaries, we're experiencing the liminality. We are on the edges, on the margins doing this work, oftentimes on behalf of people where it is thankless, you know, but we have to do that work. That's our responsibility. Because again, this is way shower energy. And, you know, I was saying to a friend this week that I'm really grateful for many of the people who've gone before me, especially one of my friends, Candice Brathwaite. I'm very grateful for the path that she's walked and the doors that she's opened and is clearing for other Black women. And I said, you know, I'm not really interested in being the first Black anything. You know, it's very difficult. And actually, I'm enjoying people removing the obstacles out of my path and letting me walk clear. Okay, I'm like, this is wonderful. Why should I be the first? And as someone who functions as a way shower, is very often having to do it, you know, alone, or go there alone and open the roads for others. I get now the benefit and the blessing of having people gone before us and prepared the path. So listen, folks, that's our role at the moment. That's our responsibility, is walking the path, clearing the path, so that others aren't dropping through, you know, dams and hurdles and potholes, and aren't being, what's the word when someone sets a trap for you on a ambush, that's it, not being ambushed on the path, you know, that we're doing this and we are literally clearing the path for generations. That is part of our responsibility. The other aspects of our responsibility is the grieving process. Really, this is hermit energy, and this is also the Four of Water, which is, this fish is particularly, is a fish that buries itself and hides away. So there is this kind of calling our energy back in and being alone and doing this spirit work, which is the grief and being in the darkness and letting the shedding and the passing happen. And we're having to kind of navigate both energies. We have to do both. It feels like we have to deal with ourselves, and that's why we have to do both. The Two of Cups actually feels like, you know, if there's a process, there's an investment, there's work to be done on ourselves with the Seven of Pentacles that allows us to show up on that road with others. And if we don't do that hermit work, if we don't do that Four of Cups work, if we don't work through our shit and take that time alone, then we're leading nobody nowhere. Do you know what I mean? Like, you will be a danger to others. You'll be leading them to potholes because you haven't cleared a single thing. And so in the midst of all of this, we do have the Judgment card as the last part of this opening message. And the Judgment card is really, as I've been saying, I think most weeks, that this idea that we do need to get out of the way, or at least be aware that this year in particular, and it is different to many other years that we've experienced in our lifetime, this year is a judgment year. I personally feel like it's a year when the spirits have come closer. Now, there is spirit energy present, and there is meeting out of judgment, okay? It is very much like looking at what has been done and what is the harvest of our collective action, and then what are the repercussions of what we've done. And some of that is we feel that pushing and that pulling of that judgment energy just through nature itself, okay? So we may see that, for example, through the changes in our environment as it relates literally to the earth that we live on, and our treatment of this physical space, the ways that the land can become more hostile towards us because of that, and us needing actually to repair our relationship to the land itself. And then it can be in more complex ways, as like literal trumpet call. I feel, right? I feel like there is spirit intervention. I feel like there is spirit stepping on necks. Let's see if they want to say any more about that. Yep. Seven of Pentacles and Five of or Seven of Earth and Five of Earth, right? This is checking on the works done, and this is judgment for it. Throwing this what is it? A goat into the fire. This card actually speaks about kind of purification. It's a really Scorpio energy here, even though it's an Earth card. This writer, the writer assigns it to Saturn, Mars, Scorpio, and Pluto. And this is really about throwing our works into the fire and seeing what lasts. Like, what have we made from the spirit perspective? What have we made? What have we done with ourselves, with our lives, that is worth standing the test of time, that is worth coming through, that can survive the fire of this year? And what if we've been wasting our time and have been aimless and unable to awaken and bring our souls online? Then we are left with nothing because everything burns away. Now, that nothing is still a blessing because it shows you all this ain't shit. Okay, but either way, it's a painful process. But that is what's happening right now. A real reckoning. Let's see the fruits of your labor. Let's see your work. What have you done? And out of that, you know, if we come out of that having done our work in the same way that I said, you know, my spirits were saying to me being here is a reward. Ace of Cups. Again, that cosmic mother energy I was talking about, that maternal energy, mother God principle, pouring out love, like unconditional, so many iterations and manifestations and emanations of what that love can be like and be experienced in our lives. So, but we have to endure the flame first, and the flame is 2020. If you are resonating with this message, please do like the video. All right. That was the opening message. We will inherit the earth is the next part of this message. The earth and the ace of fire. That's the message. It's ours. It's ours. It's ours to shape, it's ours to create, it's ours to move into, and we will be put in positions of power, authority, and influence. We will inherit the earth, and we need to do what is required of us now to prepare for that role, to prepare for that responsibility. Aquarius energy here, and Aries energy in the star and the emperor. What kind of leaders are we going to be? What kind of leadership will we be involved in? What kind of future, what kind of culture, what kind of society, what kind of beings are we going to evolve into? You know, moving into a space really where, you know, I was thinking about Mel's work with the Free Black Uni, and, you know, Mel sharing that they're able to, you know, use the dream space and dream messages, dream messages to inform what they do in their work, and to be able to go back to their team and say, I had a vision last night and it's this, and we're going to work in a certain way. And that's such a blessing, right? And I feel like that is what 2020 should represent for us. Oh, hey, camera, are you good? I'm still here. There we go. That's what 2020 should represent for us in terms of, on a collective level, on a wide scale level, more of us universally tapped into our intuition and our spirit. That we, when I talk about what kind of leadership models will we have, it's not about the hierarchy of like, who are you going to lead? It's the question of what place will we lead ourselves from? Will we be driven by the same old shit? Okay, ambition, money, whatever else it is, competition, or are we going to open up to a different source? Are we going to allow our spirits to animate and drive us forward? Okay, what's unconscious that needs to be made conscious in this very chaotic astrological time? Well, we got fairies and sylphs here. There's a lot of spirit communication, a lot of messages coming through. So make sure you're making time to hear and to listen. That goes to me because I feel like I haven't necessarily, in the last week, let's say, my hearing hasn't been great, but I haven't really been creating enough space to listen. So make sure that you're doing that. Applies to me too. Really, what's unconscious is that spirit's working, and we need to trust that. That's the message. It's as simple as we really need to trust. Look at that. We just need to trust and allow, because we do have message from fire, we have the guardian angel, and we have message, the air element. And just this message for me on every level is like, there is spirit activity happening. There are things happening on a higher dimensional level, at a higher jurisdiction than you have access to. And you just need to allow it. You need to let those processes unfold, is the message that I'm really feeling, is that there is so much change happening on a spiritual level for the collective. Obviously, where it pertains to you, you do want to tap in and you do want to understand the flow and where you are personally. But in terms of what's going on for us as a group and as a community and a collective of people growing and moving in this earth, we need to recognize that spirit is at work. And the work of spirit right now, Shango and the Three of Earth, a lot of judgment coming forward. That's really going to shift the power dynamics and the way that we co-create, the way that we collaborate and work together. And things that are out of balance and things that are unjust are being dealt with. Divine justice is actually the message. So you don't really have to wade in and try to get your own back, or, you know, it's divine justice. And those of you who really live through the warrior archetype particularly, where you will be the messengers and the action of justice. You will carry it out. You will be meting out the judgment. You'll be taking action on it. So I'm not going to push myself too far today. We are going to close with a pick a card message. How should I do this? 1 second, everyone. I'm going to pull the cards out first, and then you can tune in. Okay, so we have 1, 2, and 3. Well, I just saw that and I wasn't meant to do that. But that's card 3. Right, I had to choose my own so that I could see first. That's 2. These 2 are group 2. And this is 1. So have a look. 1, 2, and 3 on the end. What's resonating with you? And this is just general guidance that you need at this time. All right. Group 1, Ace of Swords. Some of you, Sass chose group 1, of course you did, because I was about to say some of you group 1 people are the voice of justice. You are the warriors. You are meting out this judgment. You are out there cutting and slicing and letting people know they've been out of line, okay? And spirit ain't gonna let it fly anymore. And whether you're doing that in the spirit realm or you're doing that publicly in your day-to-day life, but that you have the sword of truth here and it's been handed to you from spirit. You are literally, it's really interesting because I was reading up, some energy came through and I was reading up on the Archangel Samuel as the, what is it called? Like, it's not really this word, but I might say like the vindictiveness or the spitefulness of God. Like, and this idea that this particular angel encompasses both good and evil because it is, I mean, some people call it a fallen angel, but in this sense, it does the heinous bidding, right? So let's say if God's like, if we have a concept of God in that way, but let's just take it from that particular tradition. If the divine justice is wipe that shit out, then that's the angel that's going to go get it done. Do you know what I mean? And that's a whole different conversation. But I will say with this maybe there's something about the 8. This Ace of Swords, you all have taken this sword. You've taken this sword of divine justice, and it is yours to cut down all that should not be there. So really, you know, take that on board at this time. Really step into that. Really explore what that means. For some of you, this literally is your voice and your tongue. For others of you, it is much more higher level spiritual warfare. You need to step up because that's your role. That just reminded me, some of you have been asking me about the solar plexus and, you know, the work that needed to be done to support that. And I've not been in the space or the capacity to do anything about it. But you warriors, you are. And you are who can really go in and address some of that energy. So if you feel called to do any spirit work to support the divine masculine energy around the solar plexus, particularly those of you who know you're in the warrior function, if you want to do that within this community space, just let me know and I will let you run, right? You don't need me for everything. I'm not even capable. I'm spent. Anyway, group 2, which is a whole lot of you. Kalechi said 1 is hitting, you chose 2. Group 2, the Hangman and the 6 of Swords. Swords. I'd like this for you. For the record, I also chose 2. This is the justice cycle completing, things being wrapped up, things being addressed, a growth process being over, a certain chapter of your life falling away. It's difficult though. I don't feel like it's easy for you, group 2. And it may not be easy because either you're in a situation where you can surrender, and it's like that kind of, like I said, step back and let spirit do what spirit's doing, and that might be challenging for you. And for others of you, it's the challenge of moving through the end of this karma. And I had a vision a while back where actually Amaya said to me that I was literally giving birth to the end of a karmic cycle, and that after that certain things would come into place. And I say that to say, those of you who are having to push and labor the end of something, I'm right there with you, and it is not easy. But literally, as she said to me, with the 6 of Wands head, this is what comes afterwards. And there is a victory, and there is crowning, and there is success, and there's elevation that comes next. But it does require, and it's difficult. There can be labor pains at the ending of things here, but this is an endurance message, I feel, knowing that you're not quite at the end when you're going through this crumbling and waning energy. You will get through to the other side. And then group 3, this feels like a health message. Group 3, care of yourselves. It's as simple as that, okay? Well, it's not as simple as that, as in the ways you're taking care of yourself may be complex and different, but ultimately with the Queen of Pentacles energy, I'm feeling you all 111. You all are in spaces of neglect, either from others or self-neglect, and you really need to care for yourselves, right? You need to build up forms of care, or you need to ask for the care that you need, or you need to budget if you have to. So whatever it is, wherever you can get the... Oh, is it still frozen? I'm going to type it for group 3. I'm back. All right. Either way, I was leaving, so I'm leaving. But I will just say to group 3, the message was basically, hopefully it records, so when I end it, you might be able to watch it back. But the message was basically that you're experiencing neglect and you really need to look after yourself and put in place some care, whether that's care you can give to yourself, care you can ask for, or care that you can outsource and get others to care for you through purchase, for example. Yes, Sophie, I'm going to bed too. Take care. So parts of it were not audible. I don't know if it's going to be audible or not during the playback. But look, I'm in South America. We're doing what we're doing. I am going to go. It's only, what's the time? It's only 6:30 for me. I'm still low-key on London time though, so I'm getting tired quite early. But yeah, it's only 6:30, so I am gonna dip and enjoy the rest of my evening. I think I'm gonna rest, and tomorrow I think I'm gonna go to the beach as soon as I wake up and just be all up in the sea. And then the rest of the monthly readings will continue going up over the next few days in between the client readings that I have. You're welcome, my love. Thanks for being here with me. Thank you. Go listen to that Phony People song. I'm gonna play it right now. Thank you, Jane. All right. Ciao, ciao, ciao.